It's Saturday morning, about 9 o'clock, August 26th, and that magnificent island back there that you see is Raratonga. FeNiX and I are currently en route to Aitutaki. A long day sail, or an overnight sail, I guess, north, almost exactly due north of Raratonga. So about this time tomorrow morning, we should be at the pass through the reef to get into Aitutaki. It's 140 miles, and right now the wind is east-southeast, blowing 20-25 knots, and all I have up is the Genoa. We're making 5 to 6 knots just that way. Off to the left of the picture might look like the sky's brightening up a little bit, and that's because the sun is getting higher and starting to burn off some of the cloud cover. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty nice day for sailing. Once again, the wind is pretty strong further south here in the Pacific. According to the weather report, there's a couple of lows coming in from the west, and this strong southeast wind is still a result of a high pressure system in the area, but that's eventually going to be replaced, and that wind will swing up into the northeast again. Hopefully by that time I'll be well in the lagoon of Aitutaki in smooth, comfortable water. It's Sunday morning, August 27th, about 9 o'clock or a little bit later, 9:30 maybe, and that out there is Aitutaki. Where I'm headed is over that direction, a little bit off port, right about there, where you can see that point of land, but it's not that far. It's this way from it. Is the groove that was cut in the reef so small boats could access the island. You can just see the faint line of light green water in the lagoon. That's the end of Aitutaki, but the surrounding reef extends all the way around. That's the westernmost point of it back there. I cleared that about an hour ago, maybe a little bit less, and to that point it was 136 miles, which I did in about 24 hours under just the Genoa. Now that I'm in the lee of the island and the reef, the only thing I've got to contend with is these little 18-inch wind waves, but the wind is still blowing strong out of the east, probably 25 knots. So outside in the ocean, or outside of the lee of the island and the reef here, it's still big seas, big wind. Still the same Sunday morning. I just got through the pass in the reef, which is back over that way. You can barely see that slightly darker blue-green line going out. And this is what cruising the South Pacific is all about. It's a lush tropical island, beautiful lagoons, crystal clear water, and of course the lagoon here, the water's very shallow. It's very difficult to get around much, although with a dinghy you do pretty good. Neighbor right back here, I still haven't put out a stern anchor yet. I just got the main anchor down. It's a Dutch boat, I believe, is another single-hander. He's got lee boards, so no problem. He's pretty shallow draft. I have to admit that when I came through off the main channel over to this area, I did so about right through there, and I scrunched on 3 coral heads on the bottom of the keel. Water was down, according to my depth sounder, a couple times to slightly less than 6.5 feet coming through that pass. So if you got a bigger boat, you can forget going to Aitutaki. Although I guess if you were brave, you could anchor off the reef and bring your dinghy in to visit. And there you can see this beautiful light green water. Those dark spots down there are coral heads. There's my anchor chain disappearing down at the bottom. And of course that's reef out there, not too far away. It's Wednesday afternoon and I'm still in Aitutaki. Stayed a couple extra days. I'll be leaving tomorrow morning. Right out that way you can just see a mast out there beyond the reef. That's a rather larger boat with too much draft to get in the channel, which you can just barely make out there. Coming over this way to the south, you can see that big light area. That's where the reef is just barely awash. It's about half tide right now. You see those two posts. The shorter one, when it's completely covered with water, that's high tide. It's a pretty little tidal range here. You can see all the coral right in there. And the darker blue areas, or darker green areas, is where the depth is a little greater, 10 to 12 feet. There's FeNiX sitting out there in a little spot of slightly deeper water. Cheers from Namibia with a nice younger couple. Panning around through the south. There's a couple of local boats. Another boat over there, Don and Barbara from Tasmania. And over there, that blue building that you can see in the background that says "All Welcome" on the roof is the Blue Nun, a local watering hole and restaurant. This is a man-made kind of a landfill coming out here to help protect the small harbor, which is back over this way. There's room for a number of boats in there. The water's deep enough. You have to get through a rather narrow channel right there. And the Port Authority building is up over that way. And that's another view of where I'm anchored in Aitutaki. Beautiful place.